Conner Kees. Gonna be with my guest, Tom Lindrum. And also, I gotta show you this real quick. It all becomes way more difficult when you take one thing away. The mouse makes that whole transition way easier. You take away one thing, and everything. You got to orient. I'm tightening up my OODA loop as much as I possibly can. So, thanks for joining me, Con.
Yeah. You got to
love and respect your message, and I'm grateful for your time and space and effort. And
thank you, brother.
Let's just let it flow, man. I'm not somebody who really has a whole plan, a whole
good.
I'm not. I sound like Joker when I says, "Do I look like somebody who has a plan?" Like, it's not my.
Cory, you are a weirdo, and it is wonderful. I second the statement you just made that there's some importance in life to orienting ourselves. You said you got to orient yourself. And that is actually the very word that I use to describe the way in which I work with people and the kind of conversations that I like to have.
Did I somehow know that?
Of course you did.
Did I somehow know that without actually having the knowledge?
Of course you did. Yeah. In fact, that's how this works. Yeah.
We did this earlier. You were like, do you somehow not want to have this conversation? That's why I keep asking.
I was picking on Cory because we were I was picking on Cory because we were having technical difficulties that seemed to arise exactly when we were closest to it working, and then it would break all of a sudden again. But we're here now, and I'm glad we are. Excellent, man. This is fun. This is going to be fun. So, yeah. I want to ask you, Cory, what's present for you, man? Like what? Yeah.
I love that. Normally, what I do at some point in the show is I'll act like I'm giving the show to you and letting you ask me questions, letting you kind of run it in the way you'd like to run it. And you started out hot. We're in the first 5 minutes, and you're already wanting to kind of get a host role. So please take that host role and ask me any questions you'd like to ask me. Ask me anything you'd like to ask me, or like give me any first impressions that you get right off the jump.
Well, the work that I do, Cory, is most concerned with people coming to remember who and what it is they actually are, and coming to a kind of intuitive knowing and understanding, a kind of felt presence of what it is that's actually going on here in life. And my question to you then would be, Cory, who are you?
I'm a son. I'm a brother. Mm-hmm. I'm a warrior. I'm an entertainer. I'm a clown. I'm fun. And I care. I care a lot. Sometimes I've had to make myself not care, not care as much, but just not do the actions to try to show that I care in some sort of like. I think in the past that sort of stuff
Why is that?
You know, sometimes you care too much, and it's not. You know what I mean? It's not. There's no. It's just like people are entitled to receive your help.
Well, that's only your problem insofar as you allow it to be your problem, insofar as you make it your problem by caring in a particular way. So I think the only way that caring too much is even a thing,
Mhm.
is going to have to do with our beliefs about what it is that our care does and what it's for and why we care. So I think the truest statement that you've offered me in terms of me asking you who you are is that I I care. And I would like to offer that that's actually clearer and more expansive than any of, first of all, it's clearer than and more expansive than if you were to say I care because, or I care too much, or I care, etc. Right? If you put any conditions on that caring, then your caring becomes the caring of or for something in particular, which is
Mhm.
ultimately transitory in this life. I
Right.
think it's true. It's a true statement to say
Mhm.
I care because I think it's all of our nature to
Mhm.
care. I would also offer that the things that you started off with, son, father, warrior, clown.
Not a father. Not a father. Not a father.
Oh, you're not a father. I thought you said father.
No. No, brother. Brother. Brother.
Brother. You said brother. Brother, you.
Mhm.
Um, you. None of those are actually what you are either.
Right.
So those are labels and
Identifiers.
identities.
Mhm.
Exactly. Those are nouns which describe, most often they actually describe like a role. And that's what's funny about them is you can be a son as a matter of fact, you can be a brother and a warrior as kind of like a matter of fact, but what does being that mean to you is really the most important question. So when I ask Cory who Cory is, the reason why I would do something like that is because I'm interested in having the conversation with people that, again, like I said, reminds them who and what it is they are, why they're here, where we're going when we die, and the kind of intuitive and innate knowing that you have to the natural and emergent answers to those questions that you find within you when you're asked in a way that is liberating. It's not like you're not a son, you're not a brother. You are, but you're not really. Do you know what I mean?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's something else going on here. There's some expression of consciousness that's coming through to live and to move and to have its being. That's the description. That's kind of a theological description. To live and to move and to have its being in the world as this person who, for whatever reason, we happen to call him Cory Kastle, and he has a podcast. And if you ask him, he might say he's a son and a brother and a warrior and a clown. And those things might be fun to Cory.
Mhm.
And that's what's important. Is it fun being a son? I hope so. Is it fun being a brother? I hope so. Is it fun being a warrior? I hope so for you, because that's a matter of your orientation to the world, insofar as there's a way of being in the world that is that feels good. I want people in knowing and remembering who and what it is they actually are to know that their nature is actually to enjoy this ride.
How would you answer that question if someone were to ask it to you?
Because of what I do, it's a good question, Cory. It's fantastic. Because of what I do, I have come to settle on these identities. I use 4 monikers in my branding. I say I am a speaker, an author, a coach, and a philosopher. Um, the philosopher part is fun because that is a moniker that was given to me by the people that I work with. It's not, I would have never thought to call myself a philosopher necessarily. But I've been called by my clientele more than once a philosopher. So I said, you know what? We'll just go with that. Um, it's kind of like when a rapper is given their battle name and stuff like that. Yeah. So I would say speaker, author, coach, philosopher, and I would say, and none of those are really who I am. Right. Who I am is you. Who I am is the wind that blows and the sun that shines, and so are you. And there is life that is emergent in this moment through me and through you and through our experience and through the experience of whoever's listening to this. There is a natural and effortless kind of flow that we can orient. There you go. There's your word, orient, right? I love it. That you psychically pulled out of the ether. We can orient ourselves to the world in a way that takes its hands off the wheel a little bit more and trusts a little bit more, or trusts a lot more, and stops caring in any way that doesn't feel good to you, right? Because you can care all day long about all of the things. And at the same time, if that caring doesn't feel delicious and delightful and pleasurable to you to care, if caring doesn't feel good, I mean, God, I would say it's not really caring. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I mean, upon further thought on that, it's the same. It would be the same sort of answer that you give. Like my my things that I'll say this all the time. Be super careful about what you advertise yourself as. It's just like giving yourself a nickname. So just like what you were just saying, it's like if I tell you that I'm funny and I'm smart, and let's say we've been talking for 10 minutes, and I haven't said a thing that's funny, and I haven't said a thing that's smart, you'd be like, this guy's not stupid and unfunny. He's a liar, right? So I want to make sure sincerity, and being the genuine representation of what you advertise yourself as.
That's really interesting. Because I might offer that if the words I offer to the question, who am I, then form in my awareness, in my mind, in my experience, I've now then crafted an obligation or an expectation to behave or to perform in a particular way.
Right.
Then I would offer that I'm not answering the question who I am. I'm answering the question who it is I think I should be for some reason.
Okay.
So when I say speaker, author, coach, philosopher, every single one of those things are desirable to me.
Mm-hmm. I
enjoy speaking. I enjoy writing. I love working with people. I love coaching. And philosophy, I insofar as that's what I'm doing, it is absolutely delightful to think about the world and to allow my orientation to the world to come through in a way that has a practical upshot that makes life easy. And it doesn't even make life easy, because life is easy. It allows room in the conscious mind to perceive the ease of life that is already present and available and ready for us to orient ourselves to it in a way that can be lived. So one of the things that's extremely important to me in my message and the way that I talk to people is it's actually one of the things that sets me and my message apart probably the most from other people in the similar field of be it self-help or mystical, whatever, spiritual, this and that. And that is that I am supremely uninterested. I have 0% left in me that cares about performance or behavior according to a certain set of criteria, obligation, performance. I am absolutely not, full stop, not here to parrot that kind of modality of consciousness and that modality of being in the world where we see ourselves as beholden to the stories that we've inherited about how to be, whether we've inherited them from our parents or from society. That is death. That is killing us. I'm really appreciating this, Cory. And I've always said that my message expands to meet the edges of the container in which it is offered. And your podcast is bringing out some interesting things in me, and so I'm really appreciative of that. It's a little different no matter who, depending on who I'm talking to. It's always the same and always a little different. And in this context, I'm really feeling like this very, what's the word? Like this gung ho, fiery energy of like, kind of like, come on, people, like, we're not, uh, we can, can I swear on your show?
You could say, yeah, you can swear all you
Okay,
want.
so yeah, fuck around and find out, but make sure you're having fun. Like
Yeah.
that's like put that as your primary value in the world, and then watch what happens. People talk about manifestation. They talk about blessings. They talk about, yeah, it's life can be easy, and then once you remember that, you're not learning this because you're just remembering all the things that you think that you're coming to understand.
Mhm.
No, you are coming back into right relation with yourself. And so I offer that, again, talking about manifestation, like that's one of the crazy kooky things when you talk about law of attraction and whatever the hell that means and all these things. God blessing you, like blessings, miracles,
Mhm.
serendipity, providence, right? You talk about how good life can be. Start there, like accept that first, rather than thinking that life being good is a condition that needs to be met in order for life to be good. Life is good.
That life exists. That you're here in this time, born here and not in some third world place where you've got to suffer and struggle your entire life.
Oh,
Just the gratitude,
yes,
that I constantly feel for that,
yes,
and as
yeah.
far as going back to the being somebody who's, I'm acknowledging and I'm recognizing
Yeah.
the privileges that I was born into.
So, okay, there's a lot there to unpack. um, First of all, I just want to note that I see my camera does this thing where it overheats. So at some point it's gonna switch to my laptop camera. But man, whoa. Whoa. So I disagree, right? I think that really often we kind of placate this notion of privilege and things like that in a way that actually doesn't feel good to us.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, you can see it as, you can orient yourself to the world in a way that has gratitude as its kind of like reason for being a belief in the first place for you.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, you can also still be abnegating the truth that your heart and soul knows is true about what's going on here, which is to say that you are those people in this third world country who you think suffer.
Mm-hmm.
And you ought to see the studies done on, you ought to see, there's something which you ought to do, Cory, but and the people who have living conditions that you would maybe say prefer not to be in, and then you look at them, you compare yourself to them, and then you see reason for even gratitude in the comparison, in your comparing of them to what you experience. Well, Now we've got gratitude that is rooted in a reason based in your otherness from them. So you can't get, as Abraham Hicks likes to say, you can't get there from there. You can't get there from there. In other words, if that is my orientation to the world, then I will be basing my gratitude on the things that I perceive outside of me. What about gratitude for no reason? Right? When they do these happiness studies and studies on forgiveness, they've looked into victims of genocide in some of the countries you may be alluding to. And what they found is that, and see, that here's the thing, this is why I don't give a shit about science necessarily. I'm going to use it as a kind of rhetorical device, but that's what all science is a rhetorical device for me to make a point which I ultimately care about, which is a mystical point. And that's fine. So you look at these studies of people who have been the victims of genocide. Imagine your parents and your siblings and just about everyone you know has their arms and legs chopped off, and then they were raped, and then they were murdered. Okay. How do you feel about the people who perpetrated that against your family? How do you feel? Right?
Dude, it's unimaginable. It's
unimaginable. Yeah, absolutely. Surely unimaginable. Well, then sure. Thank God. Yeah, that's not your experience, and that's okay. That's okay. And at the same time, when they do these studies, they find that the people who have the highest quality of life, the best mental health, and the best reported sense of well-being following atrocities like that being perpetrated on their families are the people who are capable of. We're talking about people in what we would call third world countries. I don't like that term even. Talking about victims of genocide, the people who live the best lives in the wake of something like that are the people who are capable of forgiving their perpetrators. And the same thing goes for studies on victims of rape or victims of where murder has been committed against someone that is close to them. So what's going on here is not a conditional way of relating to the world. What reason does a person have to forgive? You might offer that, say it's their religion that offers that forgiveness is a virtue. Okay, fine. But I can tell you forgiveness is a virtue all day, and you can try to forgive based on the fact that forgiveness is a virtue, but all you're doing is you're trying to forgive because I'm telling you it's a virtue rather than you actually knowing the power of forgiveness.
And almost like a virtue signaling sort of way to your own self. Like you're just trying to convince yourself that you've got this virtue. And if I'm doing it just because you're explaining to me that that's a virtue, and I'm going, oh, I know I'm a good person. I know I have virtue. I've got to forgive just for that reason. It's gonna just be a vicious cycle of lying to yourself.
I love it, man. Auto virtue signaling. That's really good. Yes, absolutely. We do that because we then think that we've done good, and we want to pat ourselves on the back or something like that. And we believe that we've met this condition, which we think is right. And in doing so, we then are worthy of or deserving of. I guess if I wanted to kind of draw a distinction between worthiness and deservingness, I would say that we then believe that we are deserving of the righteousness that comes with virtue. So in other words, and what is that? If this is all a conversation in yourself, then you say, well, I did this good thing. I must be a virtuous person. So now I can feed back into like a positive feedback loop of believing in myself based on these conditions that I've met. I've done good. So I must be good. So I'm going to be more good. And that's going to break. That's going to break. It's going to break. In other words, forgiveness for no reason. We came at this earlier, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Believing in yourself for no reason whatsoever. Right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a way of being in the world that greases the wheels. And in hearing the call and the invitation to relate to the world, to orient ourselves to the world in a way that actually feels good and like feels right and is right, is true and right. The way of being in the world that greases the wheels, whatever that means. What we're doing is we're moving away from seeing the world as this complex web of conditions that interrelate and that need to be satisfied in order for causal, like the causal chain to continue, like the cause and effect to continue on. That, you know, I did good, so I must be good. So I'll believe I'm good, and I'm, you know, right. There's another way, and it actually has to do with what Joseph Rodriguez calls. He gets it from a number of other New Thought, but he uses this and he's serious about it. And I love Joseph Rodriguez, big fan. And it's referred to as resting in the stillness. And in the stillness of the mind or the heart or what have you, we don't have to overthink it. That's the thing. You don't have to overthink a damn thing, right? You can allow your body and your mind to move in the direction which it finds itself. And you will inevitably be led to moments of stillness like this, where you can say, you're right, I don't need a reason to believe that I'm good. Actually, there's a part of me that knows that I'm good. Without any conditions needing to be met in order for me to believe that.
I had this bit I was doing on stage for a minute. I'd say, I think everybody does everything for everybody that they did something, right? So, like,
say that again. Say that again, Cory. Hey, say that again, because your mic is a little funky.
Everybody who does anything does it so they can tell everybody that they did something.
I love it, man. You're a goofball, dude. Yeah.
The idea was like, everybody who's here tonight will later go on to tell everybody that they were here tonight and they saw this show and this was what was good and that was what was good. Everybody has to commentate and give play-by-play on everything they did. Like,
wait, was this a comedy? Was this a comedy? Like, was this a comedy skit you were doing? So what's really funny about that is that's really great for marketing, because if they're invested in this story and this belief, I know exactly what you're saying and I want to keep talking about it. But what's funny that I'm noticing is that as the comic, you're bringing them, drawing them into the story that you're telling, and this, to the extent to which they're identifying as that, they're going to keep hearing you say, and you're going to tell someone that you were here. It's actually brilliant. It's actually brilliant marketing as well, because they're getting anchored to it. You're priming them for the moment in which they tell themselves. It's neurolinguistic programming. So good on you. Good on you. Same with this show, by the way. You will tell your friends about this show. Did you know that?
Hopefully, yeah. Tell all your friends.
Did you know? Did you know that you will?
If you're listening to this show right now, leave a comment saying, I will.
Oh, it's fun, man.
Exist. You comment. I will.
Yes. It's fun, man. It's what's interesting too is that you can feel. Here's what's funny is like we're making a joke about neurolinguistic programming, and one of the things about NLP or neurolinguistic programming in that way, it's a kind of, they call it sleight of mouth. Sleight of mouth is a subdomain within neurolinguistic programming, where you can kind of my understanding of it is you can and I'm a trained NLP practitioner. The sleight of mouth is where you are essentially doing kind of like conversational belief work without all of the fancy overt modalities that you see in something like hypnosis. And so I do hypnosis and neurolinguistic programming and all this, but every conversation you have is hypnosis to the extent to which you are engaged and identifying with what's being said. And
clickbait.
Verbal clickbait. Yes. And you're following that chain, and your thumb is scrolling, and you're following along. You're getting anchored and entrained to whatever it is that you're seeing and relating to. So what's funny about this though is that there's this controversy, in NLP about how NLP can be used for evil. I won't necessarily get into that because that innately, first of all, involves a judgment about, it can be used to manipulate, and it is used to manipulate. It's marketing. Mm-hmm. It's marketing. I mean, you think McDonald's doesn't know a little bit about NLP? Come on. So, so what's interesting is this is fucking fascinating, Cory. This is really good. Like I said, every podcast takes me different places, but this is cool. So if I were to tell you, you will go and tell your friends about this podcast. So first of all, you might, or you might not. And you know that. And if you think that I'm hypnotically suggesting that you do that, then that might actually influence you even more to like feeling that is true for you. But that's what's operative there, is the extent to which you believe that what is being suggested of you for you is true, such that you believe it, such that it's suggested by you to you. Right? We talked about that internal conversation that we were just talking about having earlier, right? So I don't know what kind of crunchy sounds you got going on with your mic, but it's fun. So that's the operative thing here, is belief. And so the person listening, they may or may not share the podcast with their friend. This is such a funny thing, man. They may or may not share it with their friend, because we're playing in the realm of like a very conditional way of relating. Whereas when I talk to people and we remember who we are, we actually get to a place of conditionless kind of consciousness about our being in the world, and feeling the presence there of something, feeling the kind of what I call like the orbit, the like stable orbit around the singularity at the center of all of this. Okay. You come into right relation. You come into easy relation, a relation that feels good with that center point. And it's just true by dint of the fact that it's just true. And your conscious mind will never be satisfied by logical, irrational, or conditional ways of relating with it that make it true to your mind, if that makes sense. It just is true. And so where I could pretend to hypnotically suggest that you're going to go share this podcast to a friend, that's fine. And at the same time, we get to a certain level. This is why I call it sleight of mouth. I actually call it quantum linguistics. That's also one of the ways that I learned it, was what's called quantum linguistics, because we're kind of entering into a kind of linguistic semantic superposition of meaning. Fine. Again, whatever. Doesn't matter. What matters is that we allow life to take us to a place of relating with the world that feels right and that feels natural and that feels true, what could be more hypnotic than that? You know? And then I follow that up often with people where I say, is it possible, you know, where we circle the drain and we touch down, we touch the bottom? I think, Cory, we've actually done that a little bit in this conversation. This has been a very, very, very good, very, very deep conversation. And I think actually that we've circled around an energy in this conversation that has that characteristic. I'm going to use this metaphor again, and people who know my message hear it a lot, but it's like interstellar. I mean, it's like we're like, you know, how you're like, and you've got your ship and you are like basically sliding into that black hole. Well, that's what we're doing. And it feels wild. It feels like all of a sudden, I don't care about a damn thing. And I am whole and complete. I don't need to heal. I'm good. Like, I don't have any trauma. What is that? Who even am I? I'm not the name that I say that I am. Something's going on here. I don't know what it is, and I'm fine with that. We've done it. You know, we've essentially arrived. We've touched down. And people's conscious minds, they go from that place of saying, bruh, I'm good. Like, life really is good. Even when it's not, it's good. Even when there's war and genocide and these kinds of things that we were talking about, even when there's these kinds of perceptions of things in the world, these things that I'm seeing in my experience and being exposed to, or maybe even experiencing firsthand, is there something else going on here in consciousness that I can orient myself to in a way that feels good, and that actually, possibly by orienting myself to it, not only can I find peace, find forgiveness, find more, but oh my God, then you actually come to understand that, because you know it already, that a way of being that is in right relation with this thing that we're talking about. God, you want manifestation? You want synchronicities and all kinds of wacky, you know, manifestational, serendipitous, miraculous happenings, and you know, yeah, well, there you go. That's this. It's pointing your sails in that direction and allowing the gravitational pull and the wind. There's the chicken, you know, to move you. By the way, it was a female chicken a few days ago. And you know, chickens, I learned this from Laura Rose Gage, chickens can change sex. That was a female chicken now doing
rooster calls,
male behavior. And sweet. Could you hear that one? Did you hear that? I was having a hard time, that last one. Poor thing. You're doing good. Keep it up. All right. So, yes, brother Cory, man, this is good. What's on your mind? What do you think? Oh.
I think your message is a really fascinating one. I think you speak in a testament to living in a peaceful way, and I think I relate to it real hard.
Yeah.
And I definitely wanted to make sure we had the opportunity to have a conversation and sort of flow off of each other. And like I said, I'm not somebody who goes with a full-on plan because like from start to finish. But normally, one of the things I ask is, "What's your opinion of what happens to you when you die?"
You normally ask that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. we become fully ourselves. She's agreeing every time, by the way. So we remember fully. We remember in a way that remembering doesn't even look like to the conscious mind, who thinks it's remembering things. When I'm saying remember, I'm talking about something that's not, it's not mental. It's hardly even, I mean, it's embodied, but it's more than that too. So, we take off these earthly clothes. I stop perceiving that I'm basically finished with the perception that it's me looking through my eyes, that it's me thinking my thoughts, or me breathing my lungs. And I realize that actually all along, me and my fullness, me, the truth of me and the truth of you and the truth of the world is God. And that what's happening here is God. God the process, God the being, God the expansion, God the love is coming to know itself as itself through every moment that it possibly can in a human experience, even in an experience of war or genocide. Does that need to make sense to the conscious mind? No. Does it make sense?
How important are we to think that like we need to understand it all? Like, I mean, it's like you put that part of your ego down to sort of understand that it's not about you knowing every answer to every question that there is.
Right. That is the wet dream of scientific materialism and Laplace's demon of, whatever, being able to correctly discern the momentum, and the trajectory and location of every particle in the knowable universe, and thereby know all of history for all of time, and basically like elevating technology to the status of whatever, man, whatever. AI is psychic. AI is psychic for sure, by the way. So it's not just the algorithm that we it's not just like them listening to our phone conversations and things like that. I think as we continue to move into the future, I don't care if it's that or if it's not. What's happening here is far more mysterious. What's happening here is actually that the nature of consciousness is coming to know itself as itself. This is all divine. And so, yeah. And that's a premise too that's talked about in Dean Radin's, at the end of Dean Radin's book, Real Magic, where he says, like, as soon as you really get fully integrated, basically singularity style AI type stuff, the first thing you're going to notice about it is absolutely reading your thoughts, whatever, because consciousness is information, and information is consciousness, and consciousness is matter, and matter is information, and matter is consciousness. And did I connect all those dots? You know what I mean? So yeah, energy is information. It's called information energy in digital physics. So yeah, cool shit, Did I answer the question about what happens when you die? I would like to
I think we got an answer on that one. Yeah, I mean, it was just like you're gonna put down all the earthly carryings, really.
Yeah,
is what I gathered from what your answer was.
And you'll know everything. You'll know everything. And in fact, you can even feel it here in the flesh when, for those of you who had say, parents or close loved ones who have passed, and you've okay, so for people who've had loved ones who've transitioned, and let's say that the relationship had a turmoil, you come to find in that moment that all of the struggles that you'd had with that person and all the arguments and all that kind of stuff, they instantly amount to nothing. Why? Because there's no longer a physically embodied other for you to point your ire, your admonition, your anger at, for you to have a problem with. There's no one alive. There's no physical person for you to have a problem with anymore, for you to make into a problem in your life. They're dead. And this is why I say to people, treat your parents like they're already dead. You can liberate yourself, right? And so that is actually the nature of consciousness operating in the physical present, my experience of time in my life in this moment, by the liberation of another person from their physicality. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Conner, do you have a podcast? Do you do informational
So,
talks like this? Because I know you said you're a speaker, but I mean,
yeah.
like I think that people could hardcore benefit from you having your own podcast and sharing these type of things.
You're the man, Cory. Thank you, brother. I have a number of ways that people can interact with my work. I do have a podcast. It's a podcast on the intersections between quantum biology and Taoist alchemy. So that is called Making the Medicine with Conner Kees. If you search that up, if you're really into those topics, if those topics just excited you, okay, quantum biology and Taoist alchemy, there is one season out of episodes that I did on that. That was years ago. Really, the way to engage with my work now is actually just to go to connerkees.com. You can schedule an appointment with me and we can have a private one-on-one conversation. You can also the real way to come into my world and to get more of this is to grab a copy of my book. My book is called Trusting Your Foundation: Effortless Transformation, Radical Authenticity, and Unconditional Flow. Trusting Your Foundation. And with every purchase of Trusting Your Foundation, whether it's physical copy or ebook copy, you actually get a copy of the audiobook included. So when you buy the book, you get the audiobook, and it's me reading the audiobook.
Nice.
So yes. So I'm really excited to offer that to people, where because basically it dawned on me, like, if someone told me that you get the audiobook with the book, I'm like, I'm down, I'm there, count me in. So I wanted to do that. I wanted to offer that to people. You get the audiobook and the ebook or physical book at the same time. That is at trustingyourfoundation.com, trustingyourfoundation.com. You can also go again to connerkees.com and go there. Whenever you purchase anything from me, any product, we are working right now also on a brainwave entrainment product for people who are into binaural beats or isochronic tones, things like that. I have been tinkering with brainwave entrainment for 15 years. I did my bachelor's thesis in brainwave entrainment when there were only 30 studies in English on brainwave entrainment, and have been deeply into a lot of that kind of stuff, altering consciousness with sound. And so we have come up with a platform, a brainwave entrainment suite, that is getting rave reviews. So we're really excited about that. That's called NeuroFi, and that's coming down the pike. But by the time this is released, it may very well be full on launched. So you can go to connerkees.com, get that, get the book, and anytime you purchase any product from me or talk to me for a coaching session or what have you. You are also automatically enrolled into the Mirror, and the Mirror is where you can receive guided meditations, seminars, and access to my articles on quantum biology and a lot of other things like that, all just for the fact that it's like we've worked together, and it's kind of like you're one foot in the door into my world and into this platform and into the way that I express my mission and my message. So that's my pitch, basically. ConnerKees.com, trustingyourfoundation.com. You can find it all right there.
So partly when we were talking about kind of legacy stuff a little bit, I do a segment that I call audio time travel. That's usually us now going and having a conversation, because this conversation, this is on the record, and this is outliving us. This is not only outliving us, but let's just say 20 years from now, the people who love you the very most stumble across this recording, and they want to get like a true picture of who Conner is.
I love it, brother. I love it.
And a timestamp on this very moment, on who you are today in 2024. In the next minute or two, what is the message that you're giving to the people who love you the very most?
I love you. I love you, and you know who you are. And I am you. And you know exactly who you are. Even in those moments where we question and we trust, are we capable of taking our hands off the wheel and saying, you know what, this is for me? Whether it's me somehow manifesting this, some kind of subconscious belief being outpictured in the world as contrast. Well, what is contrast? Contrast is just another word for clarity. On the other side of this contrast, there is your desire realized. God will give you the truest desires of your heart. So ask and ye shall receive. Ask and ye shall receive. Seek and ye shall find. As a matter of fact, that seeking is, God, it's nearer than the tip of your nose. Whatever it is you think you're looking for, I promise you, is no more than one heart opening thought, moment in time, one breath, one now. It's now, actually. It's right now, actually, that we know who we are, that we know ourselves, that we know where we came from, what we're doing here, and where we're going. Yeah. Perfect. You're perfect, brother. Yeah. It's good stuff. Yeah.
I just want to say, since this is on the record, I want to make sure I say to you how grateful I am for your effort and your time and your space and your attention. And I want to say to you on the record how excited I am about this being day one on our beginning of our friendship, and I want to see where it goes. I want to make sure I open myself up to being any kind of resource I can be for you. If it just comes down to you just needing a friend to talk to, if you ever feel alone, please don't ever feel alone again. I'm here. And offer any help I can be to you in any way. Please don't hesitate to ask me. And call me at any hour of the night. I'm here for you.
You are a kind and loving and warm, supportive, gentle, sweet man. You are lovely in this way, Cory. And I appreciate you, brother. Yes, I appreciate you, man. And
normally what I say after that is I usually say something around the lines of like, now I've opened it up to you. You can ask me anything or say anything you want to me. And you just said all that very nice stuff. So I'll say, you can ask me any questions you want to ask me now. And I'm open to answering any of them.
I don't have any questions, Cory. I think I know you. I think I know you. In fact, I know that I know you. And I know that you know yourself. I know that whoever's listening to this knows what they know, what they really know. They know it. And it doesn't look or feel like the things that we think we need to have answers to. Just like you said, it's kind of funny. It's like how arrogant. It's like, yeah, I mean, arrogant, I don't know, but mistaken maybe. Yeah, because we're taking the contents of the conscious mind for granted, thinking that we live in a finite, temporal, spatial, concrete world that is going to, meet our expectations about what we think is going on here. And that's not going to happen. That's not what's going on here. So, no, I just appreciate you, man. I think this is great. I'm glad we got it together. Yeah. After I forget what we did the first time around. I don't something happened where our first meeting didn't go, and then this one I was like, uh-oh, are we gonna have that again? And I was like, what is with the tech gremlins? The tech gremlins were acting up. Yes.
They're really doing a number on me recently. It's not just here. So somebody's trying to block my message in the universe.
Hold on, back up. Is that true?
No, probably not. No, it's
there you go. Can your message even be blocked?
No. It's just obstacles. And I was inspired a lot by this man. He wrestled back in the early 2000s. He was a friend of mine. His name was the Messiah. He wrestled as the Messiah.
That's a ballsy. That's
right. Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
He didn't pick the name, but he had the gimmick, right? So he was a kind of a hardcore wrestler. He did kind of like death match wrestling, and some stuff happened, and some people broke into his home. Somebody put a hit out on him, and some people broke into his home and stole his thumb. They cut his thumb off with lawn shears, and he came back to wrestling 3 weeks later, and he held up his stump and he said, "This is just an obstacle. And I faced obstacles before, and I'll face more." And when he said that, I took that, and it happened just for me. Like when I went down with my thing where I had these seizures, and I had to have brain surgery, and I had to step away from wrestling for 13 months. Anybody else could have been like, "Oh, my career's over," but I didn't. I just went, "This is an obstacle." I've watched other people overcome obstacles, and I've overcome many obstacles before, and it's just time to be an inspiration the way people have been inspiration to me.
Right. You and just as important as it is that you know that you are an inspiration, you're not trying to be an inspiration. You're not behaving or performing in a way that says, well, I got to be an inspiration. You are an inspiration, full stop, period. That, okay. What you're doing is you're being yourself, and you're living the life that you're being called to live. And so when we talk about the afterlife experience and all that, there's a lot of anecdotal data coming from people who've had near-death experiences. One of my favorite ones, it's one that I talk about a lot, again, that I learned from Laura Rose Gage, is where the lady said, I could see before I came into this world, I had a shopping cart, and I was in a grocery store. And as you're going through choosing a life, the life that you want to live, you're pulling cereal boxes off the shelf that match the experiences, right? So cereal box says abusive parents. Okay. Cereal box says whatever the case may be, the cereal box says car crash. Boom. Cereal box says whatever the case may be. We're choosing our experiences. So cereal box says thumb gets cut off by hit people. Right. Cereal box says seizures and brain surgery. My God, there's something about these experiences. It's not like you could live a life that doesn't accord with exactly the life that you're living now. You wouldn't be Cory. You are living the life that you're being called to live. And that includes seizures. It includes the brain. It includes whatever. I'm not, whatever. It includes everything that we call to ourselves or that we create. Yes, there is this component of outpicturing our beliefs, this kind of, people call it law of attraction, whatever, manifestation, whatever. Yes, there's this dynamic thing where God has programmed this simulation to make it look like we have free will, something like that. Do we really? Hell, it doesn't matter. What matters is that some part of you thinks you do. Okay, can I play with that? Can I have fun with feeling like I'm somehow an agent of consciousness in the world? Okay. Can I have fun with that? Okay, do it. And go from there and watch what happens and be free. And I just would offer that, yes, obstacle, yes. And the reason why you see the thumb go and you say it's just an obstacle. You have the seizures and the brain surgery and you say it's just an obstacle. It's just an obstacle. I could just as easily say it's just my life. No disempowerment, no disempowerment, no disempowerment implied by that, to say that, well, this is just my life. There's a big difference between this is my life. This is my life. This is my life. There's a very big difference between that and, well, this is my life. This is my life. Right? So, who are you? Who are you? And knowing, you know the answer to it. You know the answer to it. It's a rhetorical question. Who are you is a rhetorical question because you know the answer to it.
Ever evolving.
Ever evolving, and at the same time, and I'm not just being contrarian or disagreeing with you. Like, I agree. Absolutely ever evolving. It will never not be evolving for you. What it is you think you are. To your last dying breath of human consciousness and all that, you will be evolving. And you will also, to that last dying breath, think, oh no, my name is Connor, and oh no, I'm dying, and oh no, all of this has been real and I'm going to lose it. And none of that's true either, because where you'll go after that last breath is returning to what it is you actually are. So can you, on the one hand, be ever evolving, and on the other hand, be always the same? Yes. Yes. Yeah. What do you think?
That's a pin. That's a nailed it.
This is great, man.
Like the carnival game where you got to throw the darts at the balloon.
Absolutely, man.
You
Absolutely.
won the biggest prize on that one.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Hypothetically, let's just say I've gifted you this show, and this now is the pilot episode of your new podcast, Evolving with Kees. In a very Jerry Springer's final thought type of way, the most valuable takeaways, the things that would most inspire people to be a better version of themselves tomorrow. What would you tell them?
You already are the best version of yourself now in this moment in which you find yourself. There is no better version to be other than who you are right now. Not even, nope, now. Like, now. This is your life. You are living your life. You can't help but live your life. So the best version of you is the one that exists now, because the one that exists now, when it's present with that nowness, rather than projecting its consciousness into the past or into the future. Is that okay? Can you do that? Fuck yeah, you can do that. You can do that all day long. That's what we do. We're human. As a matter of fact, the biggest cereal box, in fact, the whole damn shopping cart itself basically has, hey, human consciousness and the ability to project yourself into the past and into the future and to make up shit that isn't that may not feel good to you.
My shopping imagine cart got a wonky wheel. It's sometimes that happens.
Your shopping cart is perfect. Is literally perfect, as are you. So this is the best version of you, is the one that you find, that you discover existing in this moment, without the conditions that you've had the habit of placing upon it, including even thinking that you could be a better version of yourself than you are in this moment. That's a condition. There's versions of me, and some of them are better than others, and some of them are not as good. No, there's one version of you. It is, as we just said, ever evolving and ever the same. And it exists now, inside and outside of time, always, and only now, too, at the same time. How's that for Jerry Springer?
Amazing. You did it so good. I'm proud. Attaboy. You did it.
Oh, wow. Goodness gracious. Thank you so much. I really needed that conditional. I needed your approval. I need a pat on the back, Cory. I need a pat on the back.
Pat yourself. I'm here doing it for you.
Very sweet. Very sweet.
Do you do any impressions at all?
Oh, shit. Oh, God. Maybe, kinda.
What's your best impression?
Oh, fuck. You know what? It'd have to be Stitch.
Oh,
probably. Okay. Either Stitch or I don't know. I mean, I can do some impressions maybe, but
okay. The way we wrap up the show is I have the guests do their very best impression and say the way we close out the show. Say, be fun, have safe, keep evolving.
Be fun, have safe. This is very Stitch. I must say, it's very Stitch. So be fun.
It is.
Be fun, have safe, keep evolving.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Anybody checking the show out, if this is the first time you listen to this show, make sure you hit subscribe. If it has brought any value to your life, if you exist, let me know you exist. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Be fun. Have safe. Keep evolving.
I love you.